What's going on, guys? Hope you guys are doing good. Hope you guys are having a good week. This video is going to be about buying your first air gun. And I know I've made this video a few times in the past, but it's been a while, and this is still one of the most asked question in my comments section. And I'm not an expert in any of this stuff, but I do enjoy shooting air guns. What I'm going to talk about is maybe the different aspects of shooting that you might want to think about when picking your first air gun if you're on a really tight budget like I am. I'm going to mention some channels that you can watch some good reviews on. I'll link that stuff in the description. But unfortunately, YouTube has a lot of rules that are not really conducive to making a useful video about this topic. So I can't really talk about where to buy this stuff. I can't really talk about prices. If I'm being vague in certain areas of this video, that's why. I'm not trying to be aggravating. So let's get into it. So how are you going to use the air gun? This is going to be an important factor when picking your first air gun. Are you going to be using it for pest control or for small game hunting? Are you going to be using it for target practice, or are you going to be using it to maybe learn how to shoot a firearm better? I personally mostly just shoot mine in my front yard, target practicing. That's what I enjoy the most. But for somebody in maybe a little bit different of a situation, an air gun would be a good training tool for a bigger rifle for hunting. It'd also be a good training tool for somebody who's looking to get a firearm for self-defense. So think about the uses of buying an air gun before picking one up. My background is mostly just shooting holes in paper, so I'll take that into account with the rest of this video. The area that you have to shoot in is going to matter too. When picking your first air gun, are you going to be shooting in your backyard, or are you going to be in your basement? Maybe you live deep into the city and you can't really shoot in your yard and you have access to a basement. Or maybe you're like me and you have a lot of area to shoot and noise is really not going to matter. So think about those things when buying an air rifle too for the first time. And I'm going to get into the one that I recommend mostly for everybody to pick up for their first air gun at the very end of this video. But just know that noise can be an issue if you're living around other people. And also safety. You got to think about how much power you want out of your budget air gun and the range that you're going to be shooting. So budget, this is kind of laughable within the air gun community because you can get a little out of hand with your air gun collection. Myself, I'm on a really tight budget right now. I can't really afford, an air gun that's several thousand Donalds. I can't really spend that much money on stuff because I have other stuff going on. I've got bills I got to pay. You know what I'm talking about. Your budget's going to come into play. You want to spend the money on the right one. You don't want to get something and then be unhappy with it. You don't want to get something and it be not accurate. But if you're looking at something and it seems like it's too expensive, don't pick one of those up. There's a few cost-effective air guns out there that are going to allow you to start shooting, get you in the practice of shooting accurately, and they're going to make you more comfortable with anything gun shaped. So what I look for in an air gun is, number one, it's got to have a rifle barrel. I don't really enjoy shooting BB guns. Some people do. It's not really my thing. I'm not knocking BB guns. I just enjoy having a rifle barrel for accuracy. Any of the ones with smooth bore barrels, I don't mess with. I look for a rifle barrel. The other thing that I look for is a place to mount an optic. Now, some of these air rifles have plastic scope rails, and some of the plastic scope rails work good. Some of the plastic scope rails do not work good. The Umarex NXG is one. It's a multi-pump air gun that doesn't have a very good scope rail. But something like a Crosman Legacy 1000, it's got a plastic scope rail, but it actually works pretty good. So if you're planning on mounting an optic, look at how you would mount it. If it looks overly complicated or if it looks cheap and flimsy, maybe skip that one. Another thing to look at is reviews. Off-the-shelf air guns, Air Guns of Alaska. There's several other channels that they have done reviews on pretty much every budget air gun available. Again, I'll put links to all of those videos, all of those channels in the description. But check out some of the reviews on stuff. Don't just walk into like a big box store. Where I live, they have a very limited selection in those places. Don't just walk in there uninformed, spend 50 to 100 bucks and then get something home and it be a piece of junk. Watch a couple reviews first. Another thing to think about is how much power do you need from your budget air gun. If you have a short range that you're shooting, you don't really need that much power. I really don't shoot air guns that far compared to other people. because I end up just shooting rimfire if I want to shoot that far. But you want something with enough power to shoot the range that you want to practice at, and you don't really want something that's going to be overly powerful. There's some break barrels out there in big box stores that if you lived in a neighborhood where you couldn't make a lot of noise, or you had to think about, you know, what happens if this pellet goes over the target or something goes wrong. There's some air guns out there that could have a little too much power, so take that into account too. But my choice, if you're getting into rifles, if you're getting into shooting a rifle-shaped object, is the Daisy 880. That's number one. Number two would be something like the Crosman 2100 or the Crosman 1000. Both of those are pretty much the same guns. Not the biggest fan of Crosman at the moment. They've got rid of most of their made in USA stuff. That's a different video. But those are my three picks for something rifle shaped. Start with those. They're multi-pump air guns. They take a little bit longer to shoot, but you can pump it 3 times, maybe not shoot that far, or you can pump it all the way to its maximum pressure and shoot a little bit further if you're needing something for pest control or just longer range shooting. You're gonna walk into these big box stores, they're gonna have these budget break barrels. I've shot a lot of them. In my opinion, just stay away from all of the budget break barrels right now. There's a couple by Gammo that are okay, but for the most part, you're gambling with your money. When you buy one of those, it may not be accurate. It just may not be a good gun at all. And Gammo really doesn't have good customer service. And the other brands are not really putting out anything good. So just stay away from budget springers, in my opinion. If you want a break barrel, I would go straight to a Diana or a Y-Rock or something a little more high-end, which is not going to be who's watching this video. So just stay away from budget springers. If you're a little bit older and you're already a little familiar with maybe shooting rifles, there's some good budget PCPs out there. And that's pre-charged pneumatic. Beeman puts out a bunch. The Umarex Nodos, in my opinion, is still the best. I sold mine. There are some really good options in the budget PCP world. Again, research those, but for a beginner, I don't think there's anything wrong with starting out on a PCP. I think there would be a good choice, especially if you're practicing for shooting like a centerfire for hunting. That's going to be the one that is the most similar to shooting a big rifle. For pistols, for home defense, I would just get something that is the same size and shape of the pistol that you're looking at if you're looking at a powder burner. A lot of times, pistol handling is more important than pistol accuracy when that stuff comes into play. So look for the replica of the firearm that you're looking for with pistols. And if you're looking for a pistol for accuracy, the Crosman pumper is still number one in my opinion. The Crosman 1322, the Crosman 1377. The only difference with those two is the calipers. But for the budget world, those two are still the best in my opinion. But I hope with this video I didn't ramble too much, I didn't confuse you. If you're looking at buying your first air gun, let me know what you guys think down in the comments. I've got a lot of viewers that are more knowledgeable than I am on this stuff. So check in the comment section for some of those answers for questions that you still might have, or drop another question down there. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. I'll see you later.